have further been delegated to the municipality. In Laikipia, we have 3 municipalities.
The county is also eyeing the Kenya Urban Support Program, spearheaded by the national government and funded by the World Bank, aimed at catalyzing urban infrastructure development.
Iweze kudipa maji, ndio viwanja vyetu pale vio haviko kwenye hali nzuri. Kwa hivyo tungeliomba kabla waweze kupatia manispa majukumu ya kuchukua vile viwanja, wahakikishe yale maji yamedipiwa, wasiweze kupatia manispa kiwanja ambacho kina deni.
Na pia ningetarajia sana mambo ya stadium yetu ya Laikipia County iwe renovated na ili vijana waweze kukuza talanta kwa upande wa soka.
Besides Nanyuki, other towns in Laikipia County that have acquired municipality status are Rumoroti and Nyahururu. In May, the county government received 46.5 billion shillings from the World Bank. For the second phase of the KUSP, which targets to improve about 77 municipalities across the country and in line with the Kenya Kwanza administration development initiatives.
And now to the coastal county of Kwale. And question is, do you want to swim with the dolphins? Then head down to Kisite Mpunguti in Kwale County for an experience of a lifetime. The area, which is part of the Wasini Island in Diani, features some of the friendliest marine wildlife and is a perfect getaway for those looking to spend some time with dolphins and sample the rich history of the Kenyan coast.
Serikali tengeneza mambo ya tourism ili local people wanakuja pahali pao kuona vile bahari, wanakuja kuona dolphin, wanakuja kuona kila kitu, na the most kitu ile mzuri ni kuenjoy.
Tunahimiza watu wenzetu wa Kenya wenzetu wakuja watu join ama waanze tu vikundi vya local tourism, na hivyo ndo tutaweza kutembea. Tumetembea kwingi, tumeenda Mombasa, tumekuja sasa huku Diani.
In other news, the government is asking millers in the country to ensure they produce foods that are fortified with essential nutrients as stipulated by the law. Trade and Investment Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano noted that by investing in micronutrient fortification initiative, the government hopes to save lives by alleviating the burden of disease while improving the quality of lives of Kenyans.
According to the 2022 Kenya Demographic Health Survey, 1 in every 4 Kenyans suffer from malnutrition, despite existing legislations that include mandatory fortification of food, oil and fats with essential vitamins and minerals to address micronutrients deficiency.
If we do not, as suppliers of premixes, care for what we actually supplying to the millers, then we will not be able to make impact to the public health.
We call on to the government and other quality and safety control authorities to enforce the compliance by ensuring no packet of substandard nutrients gets into the country and no flour goes to the market unfortified.
Food manufacturers in the country have now launched a program dubbed Millers for Nutrition that advocates for the production of adequately fortified and nutritious food. The launch in Nairobi was graced by Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano.
Quantifying the level of fortification in food products gives us a chance to assess the nutritional status of our people and thus granting us that opportunity to identify areas of nutrition that call for improvement.
One of the most powerful tools we have to tackle malnutrition, due to its distinct combination of qualities, including scalability, sustainability, and cost effectiveness.
The CS further urged food manufacturers to observe the stipulated fortification regulations and invest in technologies to ensure delivery of accurate and unified fortification. She, however, reaffirmed the government's commitment to ensuring that millers are well supported and equipped through availing resources that will aid their food fortification.
Food fortification to post the best results, it should be integrated into a wider nutrition improvement strategy that encompasses other interventions such as supplementation, dietary diversification, and nutrition education.
From the time we started fortification in this country, that is mandatory, that is in the year 2012, we've seen a lot of improvement, especially in the health.
Opicho Chemtai for Lunchtime News.
In the news, the poor state of roads in Garissa town has drawn sharp criticism against agencies in charge of road construction and maintenance. The National Livestock Marketing Council Chair Dubat Amey accused the agencies of shoddy work that have denied the town of durable roads to enhance mobility of people as well as goods.
Hii mji ya Garissa ikinyesha, hii mabarabara maji naingia manyumba zetu. Kwa sababu hakuna proper drainage system. Contractor na watu wa kura sijui wanazungumzanga mchana au usiku. Maji naingia manyumba zetu. Nyinyi wote mnajua vile barabara ya Garissa na Nairobi iliharibika. Inakuwa na impact ngapi? Inakuwa na impact ngapi? Nyinyi mnajua kila Jumatano lori 20 ya ng'ombe ilikuwa ikipita.
And from roads to agriculture, where over 300 rice farmers hailing from the Lower Kuja irrigation scheme in Migori County have received complimentary agricultural inputs courtesy of the Migori County government. Lucas Musenda, the county executive committee member overseeing agriculture, says the county will further distribute seeds to farmers grappling with the rather overpriced seeds. Isaac Munga, the scheme's manager, has urged the county government to aid in marketing their product.
300 farmers have been given each 10 kg of komboka rice. So the komboka, when you plant it well and you do proper management, from 1 acre you will get between 35 even to 40 bags of 80 kg. We have talked to our farmers and they have promised that they are going to put them in the soil and to tender them well.
The market, like right now, the price is gone down, and some of the people are the farms that are taking too long to pay. So we are asking the county government if they can step up and help us get ready market that we can be paid in after delivery in a short while, so that we can get money to plow back in the next season.
The Ministry of Health has received over 8 million doses of routine childhood vaccines following critical low levels in hospitals across the country. The vaccines are currently being processed for urgent distribution to the 9 regional vaccine stores across the country. The ministry says that vaccines will reach health facilities and communities by the second week of June 2024.
By the Principal Secretary of the State Department for Medical Services, Harry Kimtai, the Ministry of Health has allocated 1.25 billion shillings to urgently procure routine childhood vaccines. This follows a shortage witnessed in the country, with parents forced to travel to other counties for the life-saving vaccines. The ministry has already received 1,209,500 doses of the measles rubella vaccines, 3,032,000 doses of oral polio vaccines, 1 million doses of tetanus diphtheria vaccines, and 3,129,000 doses of BCG vaccines. With the vaccines expected in the hospitals by the second week of June, healthcare workers have been urged to collaborate with community health teams to ensure all children who missed vaccinations catch up on the immunization schedule. Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
And a conflict is simmering between two factions of the Kikonyokie Group ranch members in Kajiado County following a fallout over the leadership of their 2,800-acre land parcel. Elections that were slated to take place a fortnight ago were put off over lack of faith on the committee mandated to oversee the elections. Separately, Muslim clerics in the Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya, CIPK, have voiced their concerns over remarks made by a section of political leaders concerning the Mogoka ban in the coast region. This and more in the county news wrap.
The two candidates in the elections, Moses Monique and Moses Parantai, separately declared themselves as the legitimate chairs of the 2,800-acre land parcel in Kibiko Forest Ngong area that awaits demarcation and subdivision.
Wameweza kunichagua niwe mwenyekiti wao na wamenipa hiyo idhini ili niweze kuwakilisha.
Having been sworn in as a chairman of this community and have served for the last 25 years.
Separately, Muslim clerics under the Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya are calling upon the National Cohesion and Integration Commission NCIC to address inflammatory remarks made by a section of politicians concerning the Muguka ban in the Coast region.
Imeonekana kwa baadhi ya viongozi ambao kwamba wanapigania biashara hii kutoa maneno ya vitisho, kutaja hata kubeba silaha, hata kutaja maneno mengineyo ambapo kwamba haya yanahatarisha amani na ni matamshi ya uchochezi.
Elsewhere, Mama Lucy Hospital Management Board have claimed there is political interference in running of the hospital which is affecting service delivery. They have threatened to take action against people spreading falsehoods and tarnishing the name of the health facility.
If detention meant that somebody has not paid for services offered and hence they are retained in the hospital, I would like to state that in the past quarter alone, we have had to give waivers of 4.5 million to be specific.
And the government intends to connect all homes to electricity in the next 3 years. According to Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir, the government has secured 27 billion shillings from the AFD and DIB banks. The government is also constructing a new transmission line from Narok to Bomet, which will address the persistent blackouts in South Rift.
And the issue of blackouts, the issue of load shedding will really be a thing of the past in these areas of Bomet. So we are upgrading that line. We are not upgrading, we are building a new line that will support that challenge of the constraint between Moroni and Chemosit.
Finally, the government through the State Department for Public Service has introduced the Human Resource Information System Kenya that will manage HR functions in the public sector, professionalizing the HR function, training a revolving fund, medical cover for civil servants, and payroll management policy for the public service.
All of them will belong to this payroll, because what we want to do is at a click of a button we can be able to know how much money are we paying in terms of salaries and allowances.
And to matter security now, where two notorious criminals suspected to be behind a spate of car robberies in Limuru, Kabete and Kikuyu constituencies in Kiambu County have been arraigned at the Limuru Law Courts. According to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations Officer Joseph Washira, one of the accused, Joseph Kiango, has opted to be a prosecution witness, leaving the other suspect, Isaiah Ndirango, to face charges. Ndirango denied stealing a lorry worth 4 million shillings in Rironi area, and Chief Magistrate Jared Magori granted him a 1 million shillings bond. The case will be mentioned on 18th of June.
The accused is admitted to a bond of 1 million shillings with one surety of similar amount, or a cash bail of 500,000 shillings. Hearing on 6th of August before this court, mentioned on 18th of June.
Very well, and now we switch focus to the military tales that ran last night regarding Samuel Seremo, who is one of the officers who worked for 38 years as a signaller. He graces this week's edition of Military Tales. We travel to Moy's Bridge in Trans Nzoia County to meet one former military communications expert who served as a regimental signaller.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Warrant Officer Class 1 retired Samuel Kiptanui Serem, ambaye mimi nimezaliwa 1961 tarehe 14 mwezi wa 6 sehemu za Nandi County, ambaye wakati huo nitoka Kapsabet, na wazazi wangu wakakuja mpaka Trans Nzoia County mahali nimelelewa. Nikaenda Kesogon Primary School miaka ya 70, nikafanya CPE, Certificate Primary of Education, wakati huo 1977. Kisha baadaye nikajiunga na Kitale Day Secondary School, ambaye kwa wakati huo inajulikana kama St. Anthony's Boys Secondary School from 1978. Mwaka wa 1981 mwezi wa 8, nikiwa karibu nimalize shule, jeshi wakakuja kuajiri wanajeshi sehemu za Kitale. Nikaona kuliko kukaa nyumbani nikaenda kujaribu, na kwa bahati mzuri nikakuwa listed tarehe 14 August 1981. From 1982 February nikahudumu katika 5K kama askari mpya. Baada ya hapo nikaendelea kufanya kazi yangu wa askari, alafu by 1984 nikaamua kujiunga na kikosi cha regimental signalers. Nikarudisha kikosi cha 5 kama regimental signaler, kazi ambayo nilifanya kuanzia wakati wa 1983 mpaka 2000 wakati nimevaa kopro. So baada ya kuvaa kopro nikaamua kubadilisha, kurudi kuwa askari wa kawaida ambaye ni rifleman, mtu ambaye anashika bunduki na kwenda katika vita.
As a regimental signaler, what did his duties entail?
Jeshi letu njia yao ya mawasiliano ni radio. Wacha wakati huo mambo yamebadilika. Wakati huo sisi tukiwa jeshini tulikuwa tunatumia radio kama means of communication. So mimi nilikuwa kazi yangu kumani hiyo radio, na utakuta kwamba radio kazi yake ni kupeana ujumbe, na vile vile kama mambo ya welfare ya askari, kama kuna jambo limetokea na askari fulani anataka na kujulishwa, inakuja kwa njia ya radio. Kuna voice procedure ambaye ni namna ya kuongea kwa radio, na vile vile kuna njia ya Morse code, kama mwaisikia Morse code. Morse wakati hali ya anga si nzuri ndio the best method of communication, kwa sababu ni kama spelling na inapigwa electromagnetics.
The civil war in Sierra Leone that lasted for more than 10 years back in the 90s was an eye-opener for this military veteran who served as a peacekeeper and knows the real value of peace.
Unapoitwa kwa kazi ya peacekeeping, si kazi rahisi hivyo sana, na wacha nikuambie rafiki yangu, kama kuna kitu ambaye inafaa uchunge katika maisha yako ni kitu inaitwa amani. Maana sisi wengine wetu tumesafiri mpaka nchi kama hiyo Sierra Leone, ambaye kulitokea mauaji, mateso ya aina yake, kwa sababu hata wakati tulipoingia kulikuwa na hiyo kikundi ya watu kanaitwa Revolutionary United Front, ambaye ilikuwa nakata watu mikono, kutia watu hofu. Wanakuuliza unataka short sleeved ama long sleeved, na wanakata bila huruma. So unataka kusema wakati unapoingia mahali kama hapo na kuona mambo kama hayo kwa macho yako, unaona ni kitu haipendezi.
One of the most detested personal quality in the military is laziness, and Serem contends that having served the military for over 30 years, he has instilled hard work even in his kids.
Laziness, it is not in our vocabulary, na it has never been. Na unaona kule kuamka saa 10, kumbe kwa njia moja inakufundisha na kukuharden. Mpaka leo hii mimi nimeretire, niko na miaka 4 tangu niliporetire, sipendi kulala mpaka saa 12 nipate kwa nyumba. Mimi hata nawaambia watoto wangu, pana cheza na maisha. Na nimeona faida ya kufanya bidii. Nimeona faida ya kuwa mvumilivu katika mambo mengi.
Serem is grateful to the military for the 3 key lessons he picked up that he still holds to date.
Kwanza kitu inaitwa management. That is a management of resources. Hakikisha kwamba kile kitu napata kusiwe na waste. Kwa sababu jeshi tunaamini, unaona kama jeshi tunapopimiwa chakula, ikumbe kuna sababu yake. Hakuna kupimwa chakula atipika tu chakula kwa sababu inapikwa. Ni watu wangapi watakuja mahali hapa na watakaa hapa siku ngapi. Inapangwa. Hiyo jeshi imenifundisha hata leo hii kwangu hapa. Ninapofanya shopping, nikipeleka huyu mama supermarket, tunaenda ninamwambia unajua sisi tunakunywa sukari kilo 10. So hiyo kilo 10 tumeweka mpaka tumeweka ya wageni watakapokuja. 2, don't waste time. 3, avoid idling. usiwe mtu ambaye unapoteza muda. Sisi tumefundishwa na jeshi ya kwamba hata ukipea mtu kazi, patia nafasi afanye kazi na akupe ripoti yake.
Serem has a word of advice to young serving officers and their supervisors as well.
Unapopata nafasi na ukiachiliwa jeshi, umepata kazi nzuri. Kitu unahitaji kufanya ni kwamba kile utafundishwa right from ukiwa training, shikilia na mikono miwili. Na hiyo ni nini? Nidhamu. Ukishikilia hizo, utaenda mbali. This job is not permanent. Chapo kuwa wakati unajaza makaratasi wanakuuliza terms ya employment yako unaandika permanent. This thing is never permanent. Wakati unaandikwa jeshi, that is the right time to prepare to go back home. When you are enlisted, the time you are enlisted, that is the right time to start preparing to go back home.
The former communications expert outlines some of the responsibilities of a warrant officer 1, who is the senior most officer for the non-commissioned officers NCOs.
Wakati umepewa rangi ya warrant officer, wewe uko na experience ya muda mrefu. Pili, wewe ni mtu unaweza kushauri mkubwa wako, ambaye kama wewe ni warrant officer class 2, utakuwa na meja ambaye ni OC yako pale kama ndio commander. Inaaminika ya kwamba wewe utatoa ushauri ambao utamsaidia hiyo mkubwa. 2, wewe ni administrator kwa hiyo company ama kwa hiyo battalion, wewe una play role ya administration. That is vitu kama risasi, wewe ndio una manage. 3, warrant officer kwa jeshi, yeye ndio discipline master. Ni mtu ambaye ameserve miaka mingi, anaelewa, ni kama mzazi, anaelewa nidhamu vizuri. So issues ya nidhamu atajua namna kupelekana na hawa askari at company level and battalion level. Wewe ni trainer, because wewe kitambo uje upata hiyo rangi ya warrant officer class 2 and class 1, you must have underwent all the training programs ya jeshi. Kwa mfano mimi nikiwa kama RSM, mambo yote nahusika na mambo ya parades, I should be having them on their fingertips.
After retirement, transition of soldiers from military to civilian life sometimes is a challenge for officers, and Serem advises on how to go about it.
Akili yako, kama mimi ni 38 years, nimekuwa military minded. Vitu mingi nimezoea ni ya kutoa amri. Vitu mingi nimezoea tukifanya pamoja, lakini sasa unapokuja nje, inabaki wewe na mke wako. So mimi nilipokuja nyumbani pande uchapo, kwa mimi nilikuwa napenda sana kuja, lakini nilifeel nimebaki peke yangu. Ile simu nilikuwa napigiwa asubuhi na mkubwa, hakuna. Sasa unakaa unasema ni kama unastuka, mbona ama iko namna gani? So itabidi ujiadjust. Na nashukuru kwa sababu kwa jeshi sisi we are so flexible. Ukifika desert, ishi vile desert iko. Ukifika equatorial, ishi vile iko. So challenge hizo yeko, lakini haikui kwa muda mrefu. With the time you learn. Kwa sababu ya askari ni vitu na adapt the new environment haraka.
Now retired, the veteran has embraced horticulture farming and dairy farming to keep himself busy.
Ninafanya dairy farming ambaye nimefanya semi zero grazing. Nimejenga shed, niko na ng'ombe ambaye ni wazuri. Nitatamani sana kufuga ng'ombe aina ya Jazz ambaye ndio already niko nazo. Napenda Jazz na Asia. Na hiyo ndio kazi ambaye nafanya. Secondly, wakati nilipokuwa kazini, mke wangu alikuwa na jihusisha sana mambo ya horticulture. Alafu kuna kazi ambaye mama amekuwa akifanya. We have an hotel ambaye it has been running. Saizi I'm making 80 liters per day.
Officer Serem is a family man who enjoys exercising to relax, believes in educating children to their best of their abilities.
Mimi ni mzee ambaye niko na mke mmoja ambaye amewakaribisha mahala pale. Nilioa 1983. 2 years baada ya kuingia jeshi. Na tumebarikiwa tuko na watoto 5.
His parting shot.
Yawezekana kuna Wakenya ambaye hawajaona inchi ama mtu ambaye amekosa amani namna anavyoishi. Lakini kwa mtu kama mimi, nimeenda Sierra Leone, nimeenda Somalia, si mara moja, si mara mbili, na kuona jinsi watu wanaishi kwa sababu ya kukosekana na amani, ni jambo la kusikitikia. Kwa hivyo tushike na tutunze amani kuliko vitu vyote, na tusifanye mchezo nao.
After the interview, we paid a visit to his farm, which has been his office since retirement.
Unaona kiangalia inatafuta hiyo. The process kanatafuna.
Okay. Yeah. Tumeshukuru sana bwana Serem. Asante.
For 38 years, Mr. Samuel Serem was in the military and called it a day just a few years ago. But his dedication and determination, he still has it to this day. For Military Tales from Moy's Bridge in Trans Nzoia County, I'm Njue. Very well, that has been Samuel Serem all the way from Moy's Bridge in Trans Nzoia County. They're enjoying his retirement. Don't forget Military Tales every Tuesdays at 9 p.m. We document the tales of former soldiers, and I can tell you it's really an eye-opener. Don't forget, 9 p.m. every Tuesday. And Sarah Serem takes us to our first break here on KBC Lunchtime News. We have more news, including a candid interview on youth and entrepreneurship that we are going to be having in the next couple of minutes. And I'll be having Basil David Anthony, who is the CEO and founder of Modern Floors.
Kikohozi cha muda wowote, kutokwa na jasho kwa wingi usiku, uchungu kwenye kifua, afya kudhoofika, tafuta matibabu. Labda ni TB ni ugonjwa wa kweli. Ukipimwa matibabu yapo utapona. Daktari kushauri tumia dawa kwa nidhamu. Elimu tupashane tupige vita TB. Mwa TB, TB waishi poa. TB waishi poa.
The Public Service Superannuation Scheme, PSSS, established under the Public Service Superannuation Scheme Act in 2012, is a defined contributory scheme designed to cater to you, the dedicated civil servants, teachers, and disciplined services personnel. Since its inception on January 1st, 2021, the PSSS has made remarkable progress in terms of operational efficiency and governance structures, ensuring that your retirement benefits are managed responsibly and securely. We are thrilled to announce that the second annual general meeting will be held on 7th June 2024. The chief guest will be the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix Koskei. Mark your calendars and join us for the second PSSS AGM on Friday, 7th June 2024 from 8 a.m. live on KBC TV, and be a part of this historic event as we present the financial statements to our valued scheme members. This annual general meeting is an excellent opportunity for you to learn more about the performance and growth of your pension fund. You'll gain valuable insights into how your contributions are being managed and invested for your future. We encourage you to attend the AGM virtually and actively participate in the discussions, ask questions, and share your thoughts. Your voice matters, and this is your chance to shape the future of the Public Service Superannuation Scheme. For more details and to confirm your attendance, please visit our website at www.psss.go.ke. PSSS, empowering futures.
Watch the Mozartbet Cup as teams from both the top tier and low tier battle for the ultimate prize of representing the country in Africa's CAF Confederations Cup. Catch all the action live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, beginning with a round of 16 matches, the quarter-final, semi-final, and the final. Mozartbet Cup, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Kiongozi wetu sasa ana nafuu. Tusikubali roho mbaya, tabia mbaya na nia mbaya kuchukua nafasi mbele yetu.
Kaa karibu na babako wakati wote. Mimi nitafanya vovote livyo. Yaani nitahakikisha mwanamke anayetetemesha hii funzi nuru ni muoe mimi.
Hii pete inamwagiza. Ichungi.
Acha madhara, umesikia? Mimi sina baba.
Welcome back, and to one of our top stories where President William Ruto has assured Kenyans of increased vaccine availability after Kenya joined the International Vaccine Institute IVI as a member state. Speaking at the ceremony held to mark the country's ratification of the IVA treaty at the agency's headquarters in Seoul, South Korea, on Wednesday, Ruto said Kenya's accession to the IVI boosts the nation's quest for self-reliance in vaccine production.
Third day of President William Ruto's state visit in South Korea. Speaking at the ceremony held to mark the country's ratification of the International Vaccine Institute Treaty at the agency's headquarters in Seoul, South Korea, Ruto said Kenya had learned critical lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic's challenges in accessing vaccines and emphasized commitment to reduce reliance on external manufacturers of vaccines and other pharmaceuticals.
The time has come, therefore, for Africa to actualize health sovereignty by liberating itself from dependency on unsustainable frameworks and accelerating initiatives to become self-reliant in vaccine production.
President Ruto thanked IVI for announcing the establishment of a country and project office in Nairobi, saying it will bolster Kenya's universal health coverage agenda and promote African self-reliance in vaccine production.
In vaccine production and supply terms, no one is safe until everyone is safe. Making vaccines universally accessible to all our people, regardless of nationality and status, is an urgent imperative that we must respond to without any hesitation.
It has been shown that the surest way to prevent disease, Your Excellency, is through immunization. We can only achieve that by investing in vaccines.
IVI Director General Jerome Kim affirmed his agency's commitment to building a stronger, sustainable vaccine ecosystem that advances science, prevents disease, and saves lives.
With the exceptional support of the Kenyan government and our research and development collaborators, we're now preparing to establish IVI's country office in Nairobi, which will host an initiative called Advancing Vaccine End-to-End Capabilities in Africa.
Kenya is committed to partnering with the African Union Commission, Africa Center for Disease Control, the African Medicines Agency, the World Health Organization, and the IVI to strengthen the continent's vaccine production. Kasi Chanamasha, Lunchtime News.
Time for business. We begin where importers are required to register their consignments at the source country on the new integrated Anti-Counterfeit Authority platform. Anti-Counterfeit Authority Chief Executive Officer Dr. Robbie Mbogwa says the platform seeks to step up counterfeit surveillance on imports online and enhance product traceability of goods shipped in the Kenyan market.
The Anti-Counterfeit Authority says Kenya loses 800 billion shillings annually to illicit trade and counterfeit products, accounting for 9% of the total illicit trade. The Anti-Counterfeit Authority has trained its eyes on prevention of entry of counterfeit products from their source markets. Under a new integrated system, importers are required to declare their products at the country of origin.
Do with the counterfeit good at the source, even before those goods are shipped into the country or loaded into the ship, that whatever is going to be loaded into the ships and eventually come into our country is not counterfeit.
The integrated system will also have components to track goods from source to the market in efforts to trace illicit goods in the country.
This looks at providing a platform to support the business environment fight anti-counterfeit initiatives, support it for anti-counterfeit initiatives, protect the innovators, protect the businesses, and more important than anything else, protect the consumers.
The new platform will also see intellectual property cases filed online.
Is where we are allowing consumers, the owners of IP, to lodge any complaint. They don't have to come to our office to come and bring the cases they have. They can always do it on their own device.
The authority says it is holding counterfeit goods worth 1.5 billion shillings that it plans to destroy.
1.5 billion worth of goods that are held in our various depots, and most of the goods that we are holding include electronics, electronic goods.
Benson Droba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, the private sector recorded the sharpest expansion in activity in 20 months in May, driven by falling costs and increased new businesses. The latest Stanbic Bank Kenya's Purchasing Managers Index indicates that reductions in fuel prices and import costs led to a further drop in overall input prices. In May, after the first decrease in nearly 4 years was recorded in April.
Line Purchasing Managers Index was a reading of 51.8 in May 2024. A Purchasing Managers Index reading above 50.0 signals an improvement in business conditions on the previous month, while readings below 50.0 show a deterioration. Expectations regarding output over the next 12 months rebounded strongly from February's record low, as falling inflationary pressures increased customer spending. Overall input prices fell for the second month running and was the fastest ever since the COVID-19 pandemic, due to dollar-shilling rates remaining strong. Additionally, confidence by firms was fueled by planned investments in manufacturing and wholesale and retail sectors. Firms also continued hiring workers for the 5th month running. Concurrently, firms expanded their inventories and improved their buffers. The latest Stanbic Bank Kenya's Purchasing Managers Index survey indicates that Kenyan businesses expressed confidence about future activity than they did at the beginning of the year, with the improvement based on planned investment in marketing, new branches, recruitment, and purchase of new vehicles. Despite this optimism, concerns loom over potential challenges in coming months due to disruptions caused by heavy rainfall. This, as the manufacturing and construction sectors recorded decreased output. Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
Very well, and that report takes us to our interactive segment where we have an interview. As I had mentioned earlier, we are having Basil David Anthony, who is a Ghanaian British international entrepreneur and also the founder and CEO of Modern Floors. And of course, I've looked at your resume is quite checkered, and allow me to just use that for this moment. But we will be talking about, you are also the founder of Africa's Next Young Millionaire. You will be telling us about that. But first things first, why Kenya in the first place?
I visited Kenya in March this year. Prior to that, I've been here a couple of times. Kenya youth have a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of exuberance. There's a lot of potential in Kenya. And as an entrepreneur, definitely, and as an African, I definitely want to be part of the growth and success of Kenya.
And talking about the youth, we've noticed even in Britain and even in Ghana, the issue of unemployment is almost everywhere, even in developed countries as well. And we are looking at farming and technical courses as the next frontier, and even online courses, which we can encourage our youths to venture into. Tell us something about that.
Well, just what you said is brilliant, is excellent. But don't forget, these initiatives are still churning out a lot of job seekers. I believe we need to be creating more job creators. We need to be inspiring more people to get veer into entrepreneurship. So if these farming and these courses are going to lead them into them developing and being their own leaders and being their own business people so that they can also employ people, it'll help reduce the unemployment rate as well. So we should consider injecting a part of entrepreneurship, building and mentorship into that as well.
Yeah, and I've also noted in most African countries, what we can brag about is the human capital. We have a lot of young men and women who can do a lot of work, but unfortunately they are jobless. But some of these we have seen exporting despite the fact that we do not have enough, we are exporting a lot of human labor outside the country. We've seen in UAE, in Dubai, and in other countries. I'm quite sure you've seen some Kenyans working in Britain as well. Do you believe that this is maybe could bring about the brain drain here in the country as well?
Of course, this has been going on for decades. But what we need to do is cultivate the habit of creating the ecosystem where they can stay. And now those of them that have left, fine, they've gone. But what are they also doing to come back home? Because no matter what you do, wherever you find yourself in this world, your home is your home. You will not feel as much comfortable as possible. So they also, a couple of people have left. They need to also return back with what they've acquired there, just like I did. I left Britain at a young age, went back to Ghana and set up fully in Ghana. So they need to also come back to return it back home.
And I like the way that you've talked about from Britain to Ghana, and now you're here in the country. And I've noticed that you are the 2023 People's Choice Award winner, 40 under 40 in Ghana. And also noticed the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award last year. Young men and women need mentorship, which unfortunately is not happening in many African countries. From your experience and what you're bringing here in the country, I would like you to mention something on that.
Yeah, I believe the generation before us, they were not celebrating and throwing light on entrepreneurs and their successes. This generation, that's what we need to do. We need to encourage, we need to throw light, and we need to celebrate them so that the youth can realize that the journey of being an entrepreneur is going to end up glamorous, is going to end up successful, and is going to end up fulfilling.
And you've noticed Kenya is one of the countries in Africa who has a very good internet presence. And the president noted by even talking about every county will be having like parks, there will be the aggregated parks, they will be having internet that young men and women can benefit from this. What are some of the things that you're bringing in to help some of the young people here in the country?
Yeah, so what we've noticed is that young people are always complaining about capital. Now, we've decided to bring in a reality show called Africa's Next Young Millionaire, where we put together a team of judges across the world that are going to help fund them. Now, they shouldn't get it wrong that when you come up with a business idea, it's not a loan, it's not a grant. It needs to make business sense, because business is about making profit, and if you were not making profit, it should be an NGO. So they need to come up with realistic projections, and they need to focus, and they need to come up with scenarios in all cases, so that in case of a best case, a worst case, or an average case, they still remain profitable, so that the judges I bring on board will find their business ideas investable, and they will inject some money into them as well.
And I'm not promoting them, but more or less like the Shark Tank that we saw, where millionaires can also sit with young budding entrepreneurs and help them, and as they venture into their first steps into business.
Yes, it's something similar like that, but we are going to walk them, after getting these investments, we are going to walk them for the post side of it. We need to see how they inject the money into them. We need to see what they use the money for. We need to see how they scale up and the mistakes they're making. So it's all part of the guidance and the mentorship as well.
As we wrap up, because of the interest of time, youth and mentorship and youth and entrepreneurship, what is your final word in regards to what you've seen here in the country and how things are in terms of business?
I see Kenya having almost every youth here is a hustler. Which is great, but they also should keep in mind that their ideas should be organic and should be unique. They shouldn't just copy and paste what is going on. Everybody, you've had a very big tech boom, which is fantastic, but doesn't mean that there's enough space left in it. Look for an opportunity, look for an avenue where nobody's tapping into, where there's a need, there's a demand for it, and tap into it. It might not be known yet, it might not be big yet, but there's always something that when you start first, you'd always be the biggest in it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David Basil. Anthony, who is an entrepreneur from Britain and Ghana, now setting camp here in the country. And watch out for young millionaires right here in the country, and they'll have an opportunity for mentorship, which is quite lacking in most developing countries. But in other news, the recurrent expenditure has been increased by 51.1 billion shillings in the second supplementary budget to address emerging priorities and emergencies such as subsidized fertilizer program and resettlement of flood victims. To partly cover up for this increased budgetary allocation, the development expenditure has been reduced by 84.8 billion shillings for the financial year ending this month.
In this supplementary too, higher education is actually gaining 4 billion shillings. But Honorable Speaker, this is majorly appropriations in aid, because our universities have been able to collect much more A&A. Speaker, another area that has had increment is the security sector. And Honorable Speaker, this is based on the realities of our country. Honorable Speaker, we have been able to add a little more money to the police service, National Police Service. We have added Kenya shillings 4 billion in terms of fertilizer subsidy. We have also incorporated the expenditure, both at Article 223 and the requirements for the remaining part of the financial year in these supplementary estimates, Honorable Speaker, so that we can be able to support those who were the victims of the floods.
As we say that the budget is being cut by 24 billion, and Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this because I know you also sit in the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Yes, we are cutting the budget by 24 billion, but where is the cut? The cut is on development expenditure at 75 billion shillings. And there is an increase in recurrent expenditure of 51 billion shillings. What is the justification for this?
Let's now tilt the lens and focus on matters sports, where the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers begin today in Africa, with the winners of each group directly qualifying for the global tournament to be held from the 11th of June to the 19th of July in Canada, Mexico and United States. The matches to be played today will feature Togo against South Sudan, Sierra Leone against Djibouti, Namibia will host Liberia and South Africa due to unavailability of a FIFA-approved stadium in Namibia. Central African Republic will clash against Chad, and Tunisia will play Equatorial Guinea, who are bottom of Group H with Sao Tome. Kenya's Harambee Stars will take to the pitch on Friday against Burundi in Malawi in a match that will be televised live right here on your true sports partner, KBC Channel 1. From soccer to tennis, where there will be a new men's Open French champion after Novak Djokovic pulled out of the Roland Garros due to a knee injury before his quarter-final match against 7th seed Casper Ruud, who has been given a walkover into the last four. Very well, and that tennis action takes us to the tail end of this broadcast. My name is Njue. Anne Wangeshi has been a sign language interpreter for this live newscast. So don't forget, we still have more news at 7 and 9, but you can check out this news plus much more on our social media platforms, including our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Njue. My director has been Jackie Wasolo for this broadcast. On behalf of all the team that has made this broadcast a success, do have yourself a fruitful afternoon.
Globally, 90% of our businesses are considered to be either micro, small, or medium enterprises. The situation is no different here in Kenya, where 90% of our jobs are in this critical industry. But in the last 5 years, this industry is facing a serious challenge.
We have over 19 million Kenyans in employment, or rather in employable age, but only 3 million are formally employed. The rest of the 16 million Kenyans are informally employed, largely by MSMEs.
This week on Inside Government, we are talking to the Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives and SME Development. This is Simon Chelugui. He'll be explaining to us what the government is doing to support this industry. Watch the conversation right here on KBC Channel 1